Yay, people are talking. Yes, okay, great. Awesome. Welcome. We will give everybody a few minutes to join us. I'm excited to see you guys here, and I see some old friends and then also some new friends. A lot of familiar, which is great. How are you guys doing tonight? Excited. Great. Yeah. I am. Yes, I am. I'm happy you didn't miss it too, Anna. I am a little bit tired, but I'm going to power through this. Thanks for asking. I'm going to have my wine after this, Heather. So I will be joining you on that adventure. I hope you enjoy this with your glass of wine. That's a great idea. So we will continue to we'll give it another minute or two to let people join us. Tonight's agenda, we've got some questions, some really good questions. Really not, and I don't even think this is a Q&A necessarily about modules 4 and 5, because as people are kind of starting to put all the pieces together, they're just asking some great questions overall. And then I actually have 3 different website reviews for us to talk through. So I'll be excited to show you guys those. And I'll be sharing my screen with you for that part of the Anna says, is this the last webinar Q&A session? I'll probably do some more Q&A sessions, Anna. We had quite a few people ask for website reviews. I think we had maybe almost 20 people request a review, and I wanted to try to get through everybody's just because I think they're going to be really educational for everyone. So we'll probably be doing some more Q&As as part of the bonus stuff. Maybe even over the next couple of months, I might do a Q&A in July, and then one in August as well, just because I know some people will be working through this stuff, the content. So on that note, we are recording, and I'm going to go ahead and dive into the questions that we received over the past couple weeks. So I'll just read the questions. One is, I am building a new website on Shopify and love it. Big question, are you familiar with Shopify's native blog? And for a retailer, would you feel the somewhat limited capabilities of the Shopify blog would be sufficient? I really don't want to maintain both a store on Shopify and a blog elsewhere. So my answer to this would be that I am somewhat familiar with Shopify's blog. Shopify is the platform we use for Day Designer, and I am a big fan of it. But we've never actually used the blog feature for Shopify. That being said, it is on my radar to make a decision about whether or not we're going to switch to the Shopify blog, and I am inclined to think that the benefits of using the Shopify blog might outweigh some of the benefits of WordPress. The first benefit I see of using the Shopify blog is that Shopify as a platform is hosted on Shopify's server. And we have actually had problems with the WordPress site, the self-hosted WordPress site being hacked. Not necessarily at Day Designer, but I just have experienced that with WordPress sites in the past. And so I like that Shopify is hosted on an external server that I don't have to manage and maintain. So that's a very attractive feature for me. Shopify also has a lot of plugins that you can use for search engine optimization and things like that that make it very attractive to me. So I think as a retailer, especially if you are getting started and you don't have a blog yet, I would probably say using that built-in Shopify blog is not necessarily a bad decision. So that's the answer on that one. Okay, next question is, I understand the systems needed to maintain and communicate to customers, but I am a little bit lost seek out my customers. I sell on Etsy, so most of my sales happen from searches. I would like to be more proactive in my approach. Definitely a great idea. And I think in summary, the question is, how do I find customers, or how do customers find me? And being on Etsy is a great way for people to find you. If you have the ability to be on Etsy, or that's an option for you, it's almost like a built-in search engine. So even if you have products on a different website outside of Etsy, the ability to find you on Etsy is really good. As far as how customers can find you, it's definitely going to take time, and depending on how long you've been in business, if you're starting at the very beginning and you're trying to get a lot of customers right out of the gate, you might start to feel frustrated. So I would encourage you to pace yourself. Where you're going to be 3 years from now is not where you are now. If you put these strategies into place that we've talked about in the course, and little by little try to build on them over time. So but the best way, the short answer of this, the best way to have, find your customers and have your customers find you, is to create a compelling product or service that people want to talk about. And you can do this by creating a really amazing experience and offering incredible, beautiful packaging that people want to show their friends. You can do this by using calls to action inside your packaging and your products that tell people to share that image on social media, or share their excitement about that product on social media. If you have a service-based business, you can simply send emails to old clients that are satisfied and ask them to send you referrals. We do that for my husband's business. He sells insurance, and every now and then he'll go to some customers that have been really happy. He'll drop a few cards in the mail. This is not a new technique at all. It's as old as the sun, and he'll say, if you are happy with my service, I would appreciate it if you would refer me to a few of your friends. And it kind of helps spread the word. So there are just some ideas, and I just would encourage you to realize that it's going to take time for people to find you. The only thing I would caution people about on this is if it seems like you're really having to force your product or service on to people, if it really seems like they just do not want to be sold that product or service, you might need to go back to the drawing board on the structure of that product and service, and try to infuse your brand, or infuse a little bit more meaning and depth into it to get people to connect with it. So kind of a broad answer for that question, but I hope some of those ideas help you guys. The next question we have is this. I'm a little stuck on what type of free offerings I should create for my product line. I sell, and y'all are going to have to forgive me, I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, mala beads, M-A-L-A, bracelets and yoga clothing, and mala bead kits. Okay, yay, I said it right. Thanks, Heather. But other than that, I think I could do a video explaining how to use your mala beads, but other than that, I'm having a hard time coming up with ideas. Also, should I have a separate free offering for the clothing, kits, and jewelry, or should I have just one free offering since we're all going to be the same target audience, since they all target the same audience? So my answer to this is, from a customer standpoint, and I'm putting myself in the customer's shoes, saying maybe mala beads are something I want to buy. I think that a great place to start on this would simply be to educate people on what mala beads are. So I'm a big fan of a framework called StoryBrand, and I think I've talked about it in some of the videos on the modules. StoryBrand is put on by a guy named Donald Miller, and he talks about, at his workshops, he talks about the curse of knowledge. And the curse of knowledge is basically, we become so intimately educated on our own products and services that we forget to explain to people in really pretty elementary terms what those things are. Or we think, oh, and to use the example of mala beads, I told my customers what mala beads are, so I don't need to blog about that again. If it's 6 months later, you might have a new customer base following you. You're going to have additional customers, and you're going to need to reintroduce them to these concepts and re-educate them. Another example of this is on Instagram right now, where everyone is having follower increases as people try to grow their audience on Instagram. You kind of have to remember that every couple of weeks you might have some new followers that aren't going to know who you are, and you're going to need to stop and take time to reintroduce them to who you are and what you do. So I know that doesn't specifically answer the question, but the concept of just educating people on what Mala beads are. So you could have a free opt-in for, find out 10 different ways to use Mala beads. You could also be thinking about, and it could just be a free PDF download. Think about the topic of why would I want them or need them? Explain that to me. And what's the meaning behind it? Find out what Mala beads can do for you. Also, as a free opt-in, you could offer printable tutorials, especially since you offer bead kits, or you could simply do video tutorials, and on the video, you could have they call it a turnstile, and I use this sometimes. You see this on some of the videos I have that are free, but it'll say enter your email address to learn more about this, and that's basically the same thing as an opt-in incentive. As far as segmenting those people and doing free offerings, I definitely think that's something that you could do. A system like Infusionsoft, an email system like Infusionsoft, would allow you to tag them all differently and kind of organize them, which is helpful to know, what percentage of people are interested in the clothing versus what percentage of people are interested in the jewelry, for an example. And then I actually think I would personally attempt that, because I just think I would like the data that would provide. But back to your overall brand strategy, I would make sure that your audience clearly understands that it's one brand and not three. That's the only little bit of caution I would have on that one. Okay, you guys are saying the sound is not good. Y'all let me know how we're doing on sound. Okay. Are we better on sound? Better. Okay. Way better. Okay, good deal. So keep doing that. Okay, next question is, where on your website do you recommend placing email sign-up forms for various free offerings? I can think of the blog and a pop-up on my homepage, but are there any other places I should be gathering email addresses? So we'll talk a little bit about this when I do these website reviews in a little bit. It definitely depends on the brand, but there are some other locations you could consider. I wouldn't slather it everywhere. You definitely want to keep that email gathering as a focus. That's really important. A couple other places you could think about using would be the top right corner. The top right-hand corner of your website is also a great spot for a buy now or a start here button. On your blog sidebar, immediately below your photo, a lot of times on a blog sidebar, people put their social media right below their photo or their bio. I would encourage you to put your opt-in incentive there instead for the most effective conversion. You could do the bottom of blog post. I know WordPress has a plugin for that. I don't know about Shopify or other platforms for that, but I do know there's a plugin that you can on WordPress that allows you to add an email address. In the footer of your email or of your website, you could use that space for an email opt-in. And then another thing I would mention on this is that the calls to action can vary from location to location. So on one opt-in, you might have, and I'm just going to generalize here, sign up to learn the 10 things that you need to know about website design. And then that your opt-in, that might be on the top of your website. On the bottom of your website, it might say, sign up to download a PDF on the 5 biggest mistakes creative entrepreneurs make when they're building their website. So you can do different calls to action throughout your site on that. Brina has a question. How do you get the pop-up to not come up every time they go to the homepage? That's a great question, and the answer is going to vary depending on the website platform that you're using. But on WordPress, I use a plugin called Magic Action Box, and you can actually set intervals and timers for how often you want that pop-up to appear. Michael Hyatt actually says that what you don't want to do on that is you don't want your pop-up on your homepage to fire too quickly. And he's got a great podcast on that. I don't even know if I can find the link. He's got so many. But that was his advice that I remember picking up one time. It's almost kind of like getting to know somebody too soon, getting too friendly too quickly. So with Magic Action Box, you can actually set it to pop up when they start to navigate away from your page. So when they go, when their mouse moves back to the top bar, there are definitely some ways to control that, and you want to do that. Okay, next question. I currently run an Etsy shop and am in the process of rebranding and building a Shopify site as well. I want to grow my email list, but all of my previous customers have purchased through Etsy. My understanding is that it is illegal to use email addresses from Etsy customers other than discussing their transactions. Is there a way I can still direct them to sign up for emails, either by sending them a postcard in mail or asking them outright if they would like to be added? Okay, so definitely Etsy has terms and conditions, and that changes frequently. So what I'm about to tell you, I would actually advise anyone to go back and check Etsy terms and conditions before they proceed with implementing this. This is being recorded, so I just need to say that. But for you, what I would do is I would contact each person individually, and maybe you've had thousands of sales, and I honestly believe that people matter, and that spending the time to reach out to each of those people individually and ask them if they would like to be added to your email list is something that would be worth the time to do. I wouldn't outsource it. I wouldn't have an assistant do it. I would spend a certain amount of time doing it myself until I knew that all those people had been reached. You could come up with some basic email copy to copy and paste, but I think that the thing that is important here is that really people need to know that they matter to you, and they're not going to be interested in signing up for your email list if they just think that they're another number. So an example of this could be, hi, Susie, I don't know if you remember this or not, but you purchased from my Etsy store back in November of 2013. I'm in the process of rebranding my business, and if you're interested, I'd love to keep you posted on my business journey. I'm setting up an email system that allows me to stay in touch with previous customers. Would it be all right if I added you to my email list? Or if you're not sure if you want to be added to my email list, here's a link. You can go find out more about what we're doing and what we're building LinkedIn. So just something along the lines of that to engage them. Now, I would tell you that when you do this, just realize you're not going to win everyone, and that's totally okay. Your goal as a brand is to draw people to you or drive them away, and nothing really in the middle. The more personal you make it, though, the more likely I think they will be to engage with your brand. Another thing on Etsy that you can do, and I think I've seen this question a couple places, so I definitely want to mention it here. If you have an Etsy shop, you can tell people to sign up for your email list. You can do this in your welcome message. You can do it in a vacation message. You can do it in the autoresponders that Etsy provides for you. You can do it in your email receipt, and you can do it in your shipping notification. So that's something that I would build in throughout all of those steps, and just let people know that that's the way that you communicate with them about new releases, new products, things like that. Okay, next question. Jamie says, where can I find the past Q&A call recordings? They're all on the same page in the content. If anyone here is online and can link to that, there you go, Lisa. Awesome. Lisa rocks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, here's the next question. When I started my business, I had one Twitter account for business and personal, and I had one Instagram account for business and personal. It seemed to work just fine when it was just me and my business was just starting out. And I actually liked that people, wait, let me go back. Okay, just to clarify, she has one Twitter account and one Instagram account, and she's talking about business and personal on both the accounts. Now that I'm trying to scale my business and feel like I need to create a brand, I really feel like having pictures of my dog and my husband doesn't necessarily work or make sense for the business. I'm sort of translating here a little bit. I now have separate Twitter and Instagram accounts for business and personal. It seems to be working okay, but it feels like a lot when Instagram requires you to log out and log back in each time you want to switch between accounts. I'd like a second opinion. I feel like separating my accounts is the right thing to do. Is there a compelling reason that I should keep everything together? So this is definitely a tricky question, and I'm just going to answer it from the standpoint of my experience. Two accounts of anything is definitely more to manage, especially when it's doubling everything. So if you're going to do a Facebook page, a Twitter page, or Twitter, let's just say YouTube channel, you're not jumping from 4 channels to 5 channels. You're jumping from 4 channels to 8. And as a creative entrepreneur, I think focus needs to be really important for us. And that might be sort of a recurring theme that comes up again tonight. I really feel like I've only been able to, and this is where I'm speaking from personal experience, see successful growth in my social media follower accounts when I focus on one. An example of that would be I do have a Whitney English account. It's my personal account. And that's the actual shift over time. When I started the Whitney English account, it was for business, and I've actually transitioned the day designer away from that and building that as a separate entity. The day designer Instagram account actually surpassed the follower count for my personal account this week, which I sort of actually saw as a victory moment. I was really tickled that happened. But the focus has been on building and growing the day designer account for the past couple of months. If I was to get back to building my personal brand and growing that, that would be a little bit different. But right now, that's not part of my strategy. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I would look at any type of strategy you have where you want to grow a follower account as a campaign. You've probably heard the term marketing campaigns, but it's not really something that I ever thought about implementing until the past couple of years. The simplest definition of a marketing campaign in my book is what am I going to focus on, and realizing that I can only focus on one strong campaign at a time. And so I would just really think hard about what you're trying to focus or what your goals are for growth, or what your goals would be for having 4 different accounts, 2 Twitter and 2 Instagram accounts. Why are you trying to grow all 4? That would be my main question. Okay, Jamie says, when I have 2 accounts, I use an iPad or phone for personal accounts and computer for business, so you're not logging in and out. That definitely can help with Twitter. I think on Instagram, I don't think you can post from a desktop yet. I could be wrong about that. I know that you can now comment from the desktop, and that not be the case. Things are changing in social media all the time, for sure. Okay, here's the next question. Actually, it's a long question. Let me see if I can abbreviate it. Okay, it's a really long question. I'm going to come back to that one. Okay, here's the next one. Can you recommend any good resources for learning about product development and how to make wise decisions about which products to invest in? So what I can tell you about product development is that market research is really the only way to determine what the best products are to invest in. Looking for things that are at the intersection of your strengths, your abilities, you're going to be able to, like, what are you going to be expert at? What are you actually going to be able to fulfill? And what is the market going to demand? And I think the only way to really find out some of those answers is market research, asking people and trying to see what connects with people, building a strong brand that has meaning and gives people the confidence to buy. A lot of times people will buy for experience or will buy from an emotional standpoint and not necessarily a marketing standpoint. Compelling brands to do that for people. Something's wrong with the audio again. Okay, how's this? Can you hear me on here? Okay, we're good. Okay. So I was talking about market research and doing surveys, asking people, seeing types of the that connect with people, and then building a strong brand that has an emotional component or creates an experience for people. Product development is very, very, very hard to teach because the best answer is honestly Google. And product development can take a lot of time. My best product development hours are probably between like the sleepless hours. It's sometime between the hours of 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. when no one's around. There's nothing incoming on my inbox. And I can just sit there and Google and Google and Google and Google some more. It's really, for me, product development is about learning about how things are made. I have learned, different processes, different manufacturing processes, things that I never would have thought I would know, because product development really is a lot more. It's much more than just finding a factory and saying, hey, will you make this widget for me? You really have to understand their process and sort of meet them where they are. So hopefully that helps with that question. Here's the next question about copyright. Is it best to not share work or designs on social media or online until after you've gotten the copyright registered? Should there be a difference in the approach to copyright in sharing product versus service? So what I would tell you on this is I'm not legal counsel. That's the first thing I would say. That's the exception there. Then I would tell you to make sure you've listened to the interview with Kara of Launch Her. It's a great interview. She goes into depth on a lot of that. The next thing I would say is I don't let the lack of a copyright being filed hold me back from sharing bits and pieces of that story on social media. I have had situations in the past where I've had a client and I've had some kind of contract that's prevented me from sharing part of that story on social media until a certain time. But I would always rather share and get the word out than not share and not have people know what's going on. I think I would always default to giving people a tiny bit of the story. And I don't think you have to share everything. I think you can share corners and snippets, and you definitely don't have to tell the whole story all with one picture. I think that the answer to the last question, I'm going to say this, and I hope this is what the question was, that copywriting something for yourself is different than copywriting something for a client. So if you are a graphic designer and you're designing logos for people, I actually prefer the copyright and responsibility of copyright to the client. That is not something I want to manage or file, and I think that the client appreciates that, because if I filed it for them, it would probably cost more money. So I hope that's the right answer to that question. Okay, a couple more questions, and then we're going to jump to website reviews. Does location matter when you're working with an attorney for contracts, copyright, trademarks, or patents? Should your attorney be in your state or city? For contracts, maybe you might need someone in your city or state, but for copyright, trademark, and patent, no. I don't think you necessarily need someone local at all. And then another copyright question. For those offering design services, is it always best or appropriate to transfer full copyright for logo brand identity design, or is including limitations a common thing? Example, limiting the application of the design or the geographical area of use. So like I said before, I'm all about the transfer. I do think there are bigger agencies who would prefer to control this for various reasons that are definitely probably outside my scope of expertise. I know some agencies enter their work into competitions, and so they might want to retain rights for that reason. But if I'm talking, a solo entrepreneur to solo entrepreneur, I would, come up with a great information sheet that you can pass on to a client at the end of the experience that says, here's how you should go about filing your copyright. You could even offer some kind of value add or like an upsell type of thing that if they wanted to pay you to file it, you could. In my discussions with Kara, who's been extremely helpful to me in understanding copyrights and things like that, it's pretty easy to file a copyright yourself. Now, you might want to refer them to a trademark if they want to file a trademark on their logo. So that's just a little bit of information about that. Okay, here is a financial question. Is it best to find a local CPA/accountant or find one located anywhere in the same country who specializes in working with creative entrepreneurs? Especially if you can't find someone local who knows creative business and entrepreneur stuff. So again, I'm not financial counsel on this. I can only speak from my personal experience, but I've always worked with a local CPA. However, I do know of CPAs that will work across state lines, and one of those people that I recommend to people is Helena. Her website is sweetercpa.com, SWEETER, CPA.com, so you could check her out. Okay, let's do here's two more. We are currently a mobile business which caters to the people in our city and state. We will be expanding our business by shipping to the U.S. We worked hard to gain over 10,000 followers on our Instagram page. Congratulations, that's a great feat. The option of shipping will be targeting a different customer. Should we also make a separate Instagram and social media account? So no, I would not make a separate account for this at all. But I would challenge you to beef up your messaging and on every single post, I would remember to ask yourself who, what, when, where, why, and how, and day, date, time, and place. I'll say that again. It's basic stuff, but it's literally a checklist that I think is great to run through your head. Who, what, when, where, why, how, and then day, date, time, and place. And an example of this right now in Day Designer, we are rolling out a collaboration, and when you start to get the same questions all the time, you know what information you're leaving out of the post. So we're 2 days into this campaign, and I start realizing that people keep asking, when can they get it and where can they buy it? And I was not answering the when and the where questions in my post. When you address the who, sometimes that helps you segment your audience. So an example of that would be saying, hey, calling all toddler moms, or hey, calling all tween moms. So you could actually call out the who and just mention who you're talking to at that. Next question, and then we'll move to website reviews. When building my stationery business, I decided to focus on wedding customers, and now most of my clients are from that niche. However, I also sell Christmas cards, everyday stationery, etc. So I feel like I have one very specific customer that comprises most of my business, and then other random. I am not sure if I should continue focusing on acquiring wedding customers, which tend to be profitable, or if I should try to appeal to other types of customers. My answer to this is that I always go pursue first. So if you're making money on wedding invitation clients, I would not say that it would be a good investment of your time for our rate of return on investment to pursue a baby and kids market. I think that pursuing a niche is probably one of the only ways to successfully compete as a small stationery business owner, and I can only say that because I've been in the stationery business and industry before. I think pursuing a niche like wedding or like baby or like kids can really allow you to get to know that market, to get to know that customer's needs, and to really be able to provide a premium level of service and value to that person. An example of this would, if you're thinking about somebody who just had a baby and she's looking for baby shower or baby announcements. She's not really going to be interested in anything toddler-oriented that you're going to talk about, or kids' birthday parties, and she's way past the wedding stage. So it's going to be really hard to compelling content that connects with her when every 3 blog posts that you write are going to have nothing to do with where she is in life. So I really think pursuing, if you're gonna do that, do it direct, do it on Etsy, do it on your website. I would get very specific about that audience, and I would serve them really well. So that was, and if it's a wedding that's profitable, stick with that. Okay, so we're going to move to we're going to move to a few website critiques. Let me get to a let me get some background on each of the people that we're going to be looking at today. And we're calling these are website reviews. This is not critiques. I really don't want to be critical. We're going to talk about this and hopefully all learn something. So the first website we're going to look at is missmenu.net. And this is Laura. Laura says some of her goals for this are wanting to add more products, wanting to serve and connect with working mothers, so she has a very good target market, to make their everyday lives and household more efficient and less stressful. I love it already. Sounds great. And then she'd like to make this a full-time job. So those are some of the goals. She's talked about some of the problems, but they're not really related to the website, so I won't really go into those. And she says the newsletter and email system part is hard for her, maybe struggling to organize and prioritize that. So let's look at her website, and let me see if I can do this. Okay, give me a second. Okay, they made this really complicated. Hang on, guys. I'm sorry. Gotta love technology, right? Oh my goodness. Well, let me see. Oh, here we go. Okay. One second. Okay. Can you guys see this? Can you see the Miss Menu website? Okay, cool. Now the only thing is I can't see you. So let me just, how do I make this thing go away? Okay, there we go. So gorgeous website. I love the photography on this. She's really showing, especially with the baby bag, she's really targeting the customer that she wants to reach there. I love seeing the product in action. One thing that I'd love to see more of on this is a compelling call to action. That could be a shop now button. She's got a shop button right here, but maybe have that be bolder. She does have a shopping cart up here, but I think I'd like to see some kind of email sign up. There's nothing about that. I'd love to see an email opt-in, something about, try Miss Menu today kind of thing. Get people to start there. We can go to the About page, which is lovely. There's I would say that there's a lot of copy on here without very many breaks. I'd love to see some more breaks in there, and then maybe even some styled lifestyle shots of her using her Miss Menu product, and then maybe flip some of this about. She's got down here. She's talking about why Miss Menu's format enables you to create Which, this is the unique selling proposition that she has for you right here, and I'd love to see something about this higher up. So this is valuable real estate up here, and it's kind of being taken up by a shopping cart. So I'd like to see something else up here about shop now, or or try Miss Menu. We have that on Day Designer. Another thing on the About page would be down here in this bottom paragraph. This is a great place to say, sign up for the email list. Basically, what you want to drive people to do is say, now you know more about me. You still may not be ready to buy. Here, sign up for our email, or click here to learn more. You really want to be thinking about educating people the entire time. And then on her blog, let's go look at that really quickly. Oh, she's got something from me. I feel bad, but that's up there. Let's look at the I am their Levy. So she's talking about her girls staying with the parents. Something that would be good on this would be some compelling titles of the blog post, and this is something that we really haven't talked in depth about in the course. I'm by no means an expert on copywriting. I've just learned a lot about it, even just in the past year. Marie Forleo does have a new e-course coming out that's all about copywriting, but I'd love to see some more compelling titles. There is a book about headlines called Headlines That Will Make You Rich. Sounds kind of sleazy, but really and truly it's a great, very short book, and some of the formulas they give you in there, once you just start to kind of think like they're basically trying to reprogram your mind to think, it gets to be a whole lot easier to write headlines. So a very basic example would be 3 reasons your kids need to go stay with your parents for a weekend. This is a compelling headline because you're offering 3 specific reasons, and those when you say you cite that number 3, you actually are enforcing a brand promise. When you give the 3 reasons, that's creating trust with your brand and your audience. Trust converts to sales. I love the idea of some of this meal planning. That's a great place to do some opt-in. Anytime you're offering a free download on your website, ask for an email address. I would not offer any kind of free download on a website after you've taken this course without having a request for an email address. And then I'd love to see some more personalization here, some pictures. I'd love to see a photo, and then maybe a little bit more updated blog. Okay, so I'm going to go and you guys are chatting amongst yourselves. It's awesome. So let me read the next website. This is Ruminate Magazine is the next site that we're going to be looking at. This is, let me see. This is Brianna. And she says, I started Ruminate 10 years ago because I'm a writer and I wanted to create a magazine to encourage beauty and good words and true stories. I knew nothing about running a business. Ruminate has been volunteer powered for 10 years, but I've finally realized I would like to make it profitable. In the next 5 years, I'd like to see our circulation grow from 1,000 to 5,000, and I want to hire and pay 3 key staff members. So this is great, and I love the very specific goals that Brianna has. So let's talk about, let's show her. Okay. So here we have ruminatemagazine.com. It says Chewing on Life faith and art, which definitely aligns with the name of ruminate, just sort of musing and mulling on things. One thing that this website, we've got a lot of calls to action. So read, shop, submit, give, about. As a reader, what do you want me to do? I think that's the number one question I would ask here. And the answer, if you want to grow if your goal is to grow from 1,000 to 5,000 subscribers, the number one thing you want people to do is subscribe. That might come from a pop-up that could have greeted me by now on the website. I would look into the copywriting, the headlines. As this is scrolling through, I saw something that said a loss for words. A compelling reason to, and it sounds, especially on the, am I clicking? Am I going to? Oops. I don't want to, I think that the post about a loss for words was about Alzheimer's. And so when I say write a compelling headline and talk about copyright, copy that makes you rich, headlines that make you rich, I don't want to trivialize this, but you could say something like what it feels like when you've lost your words, or something that causes an emotional connection, and call it out and say, read some of this, read this to find out what it feels like to suffer from Alzheimer's disease. But you want to give us a compelling reason to click on that. Another thing that I'd like to see here or understand is, who are we trying to attract? Are you trying to attract writers? Are you trying to attract a faith-based audience? Are you trying to attract people who just, writers and artists or poets? I kind of see that. So I'd love to see, I'd love to have a little bit more clarity about what it is, just right here when you jump on here. So subscribe, that's the ultimate goal. And that's what we need to have up here. Subscribe now. Get the latest on beautiful life, faith, and art in your inbox on a weekly basis. And I think that would be a great summary. You could move the rest of this much further down, or even you've got blog here twice. You could kind of narrow that down. So hopefully that helps a little bit on that. Let's go to the next website. This one is, we only have time to do 3 of these tonight. Okay, the next one is Bloomology. And this is Michelle. And Michelle says, let's see, how do I, come on, computer, work. Michelle says she's in the pre-business stage, and she's in the process of getting very clear about which products are the best fit for her values, strengths, and business vision. I love that. She's clarifying her vision for both the physical and the information products she wants to develop and putting together a game plan. And she wants to get them off the ground with clear, focused marketing so they become a significant part of what she's known for. So I love her clarity around that vision. She says some of the stuff that she's struggling with is the logistics of how to outline and organize some of this, and would like help with putting it all together. She says she's enjoyed the things she's learned about her values and strengths in the course, and wants to make sure that she infuses them into her product development plans, so that they really sing out about how she's unique. So those beautiful words. Let's go look at the Bloomology website. So here we have Michelle's website, and really pretty. Definitely feels peaceful, and I think that's definitely one of the goals Michelle has. I'd like to, since Michelle indicated that her values and strengths were so important, I'd kind of like to know what those are, to look at this. But I do like the fact that we are meeting her right up front. I'm on Bloomology.com. One of the first questions, we all sort of ask ourselves when we land on the website is, who is this website? What are these people doing? And right here we have a picture of Michelle. So that's great. Her tagline indicates that she's here to help us. She wants us to know ourselves and feel powerful. So I feel like that's very direct, and that's also kind of calling out the people that she's trying to reach. Maybe she's trying to reach people who don't really know themselves, or maybe they feel powerless in life. And so that's an example of drawing or driving as a brand, drawing people to her or driving them away. She has her email right here, pretty close to the top, and we could have an email sign-up form up here, maybe. And I'd love to see some kind of opt-in, instead of just I'm in, give me those emails, something that says get to know yourself a little bit better, download this PDF workbook or something like that. I do love that Michelle has a start here. I was kind of going through these websites earlier today, and the second I saw that, I clicked on it. So great, she's going to tell me exactly what I'm supposed to do next. And so she's positioning herself very clearly as a guide, and she's gonna help us figure out where to go next. I love her voice here. New here, I'll fill you in. She's making us feel comfortable. And then she says, Bloomology was created to help young women get to know themselves really, really well. That's awesome. So if you are a young woman who doesn't really know yourself, or maybe you don't know where you want to go in life, you're going to keep reading. If that's not you, you're gonna hop off the website. So she's hit her niche right there. She's telling us very clearly what we can expect to find here. These are great brand promises. On Wednesdays, you'll get this. On Sundays, you'll get this. These are great opportunities for Michelle to build and stand on her brand promise. She's telling us that Bloomology is very big on community. So I know that, let's see, I'd love to see an email sign-up form down here. Let's see if you can contact page, or we can email her, or she's on Twitter. But I would just flat out tell people down here at the bottom, join the community, give us your email address, and we'll keep you posted. So this start here page, probably, the less you have up here, the better. The start here page is really probably, that might suffice as an about page, so that might be something you could consolidate. Contact page is good. Another thing that you guys can do on contact page is you could have a button someplace that says, check this box to keep me updated. I'd love to be a part of your email list. And you can, when they send you a contact form on your website, you can have them also sign up for your email list at the same time. So that's kind of killed two birds with one stone technique. So I know, Michelle, you said you were you were struggling with connecting or building out your products, and I would actually say that it looks like you're starting off on the right foot. It correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like you're starting out with a free opt-in offering, and your business is really going to grow from there. Your audience is going to tell you what they want next, and so I would say great job on that. So those are 3 websites tonight. I hope that helped. I hope nobody felt really under the spotlight too badly on that. But I hope that sharing or going through those websites can help give you guys. We'll do that a few more times on some of the future Q&As, and I hope that can give you guys some ideas about what you can do on your own sites as well. We are right at an hour. I will be doing more Q&As, so you guys can keep using that questions form to submit more questions. I'll keep you guys posted about that. We have got some bonuses and some interviews and stuff coming for you guys that'll be in your inbox, and I'm really just grateful for all of you guys who joined us in this course, and I'm excited to be on your journey with you and have you on this journey in Biz Designers with me as well. It's really meant a lot to me, and I'm very grateful for you guys. So thank you so much. Have a great evening, and don't forget you can ask more questions in that Q&A on that Q&A form. And thank you so much. You'll have a great night.